What does the new CEO for the Johannesburg Road Agency bring to the table? I had the opportunity to speak to Dr. Tsepo Mahanuke in studio for the record.
Well, I come from an engineering background, particularly reverse engineering, where we looked into old components that have been manufactured and that are playing a critical role in infrastructure. And we try to see how we can bring them back and how we can bring new designs and innovative way of doing things. And having looked into the infrastructure of Johannesburg and having looked at the infrastructure of the entire city for that matter, I had so much interest in trying to see what is it that I can input to get the organization or to get the city to flow more easier. And also I had to look into my academic background, coming from mechanical engineering, operations management, master competitive intelligence, and also a doctorate in economic leadership and professor in business strategy and strategic alliance. Then I had to look into, hey, I can transform this. Though it's painted in light that it is not an organization that had been delivering, but when I look into the factors that are causing the organization not to deliver, then I found myself very fit to jump in.
Now, having said that, what will be some of the key priorities that you plan on focusing?
Strategy improvement and also infrastructure development. One of the most critical issues so far since I've entered as the CEO of the organization is that there are critical positions within the organization that have been vacant for quite some time. You understand that the organization is unstable. The organization is not in the position wherein it can operate, even though it has great staff, talented and qualified engineers, but the stability and the working morale of the organization is at the state where it needs a lot of intervention in terms of operations, and also looking into the state of our depots. That's one of the things that one needs to critically jump into. Of course, we have a lot of backlog, a lot of infrastructure backlog that is there, and that is why with the MMC, we have been looking into going back through a program called JRA CEO, where we go back and try to limit, or rather to reduce, the backlog that we currently have.
Now, based on the information that you currently have, what is the state of Joburg's roads?
Sure. The Joburg roads have reached its maximum asset lifespan. The roads have been developed 30, 50 years ago. They've been there, for quite some time. And when you look at that, you realize that you heavy rains. You've seen the situation that happened in Durban. When there's heavy rains and it's raining for the whole week, of course, the surfaces gets to detour and we start having a whole lot of potholes, considering the fact that those are the Johannesburg has roads that are actually moving a freight. There's a lot of freight moving onto it, and those heavy vehicles onto the conditions of those roads requires some major intervention. So of course, the state is not as bad as projected because we have already started working on it. If you walk around, you would see our guys working on the roads, repairing the roads, resurfacing the roads, and filling in potholes. So we are actually getting to work on it. So as we speak and as we stand, there's a great work that is being done, and we are also looking forward into improving the current status quo.
What is the cost that will need to be allocated to the repair and in some cases the replacement of these roads, and how long are we looking at?
A budget has been made unto us. A capital budget of 1.095 billion has been made available to JRA to tackle such type of challenges that we have. So we are actually looking into focusing on the roads that are leading into the city, the roads that are actually going out of the city, and we are also looking into improving our mobility and freight platform and departments in such a way that when you move or when you start traveling across the city, you can feel that you are traveling in a city, not just traveling in any other areas.
How do you plan to do things differently from your predecessor?
Of course, without taking away the hard work and the great work that their predecessor had done within the organization. I'm coming with a robust intervention. I'm coming with a consultative leadership skills and leadership method. I'm coming with an engagement with only not the stakeholders, but also with the inclusive organizations and the entities of the city, wherein we're working together to make sure that the city becomes a better city. We strongly believe and that our one finger cannot lift a spoon, but with all these fingers joined together, we can make the city to become a better city. Also, improving the employee morale. We understand that we're from times whereby people were quite comfortable in working from home, waking up when they are tired of sleeping, and just being free. And now we are back into full time. Of course, the morale and the ethic is not as easy. But with the nature of interventions and the support that we're giving our employees, that we're giving our staff, we strongly believe and we're very confident that the organization will never be the same again.
I'm Mpho Phalatse, your Executive Mayor for the City of Johannesburg. I'm a medical doctor by profession and the first Black woman to wear the Mayoral chain in the City of Gold. After the first few months in office, it's a tradition to report back to your residents on progress made. In spite of the delays in formulating our multi-party government coalition, which is without doubt the largest this country has seen to date, I sit here today to report back to you on our performance during the first few months of our administration, the Golden Start. In our Golden Start, we addressed key areas that are broken and need fixing, and also aimed to achieve specific goals in order to get the basics right. The multi-party government approved a 77 billion rand budget. We've taken a tough stance against households, businesses and government departments who default on paying their municipal accounts. The city has approved the building of 10 new clinics to care for our residents. 1,800 new JMPD officers have been trained, and 1,100 new social housing units are being built. I also must acknowledge the brave men and women from our health services who led the fight against COVID-19. Without each and every one of you, we would have been unable to change the mask mandate and begin to return to life as normal. Our community clinics were an essential part of the fight against COVID. These clinics form an essential part of our healthcare arsenal and are often the closest to where people live and work. A full Golden Report can be accessed on the city's website, which is www.joburg.org.za. Well, as the new Joburg multi-party government, we laid out 7 mayoral priorities in line with what our residents asked us to do for them in this 5-year term. Our 7 priorities start with getting the basics right, getting the city functioning again. That talks to the supply of energy, of electricity, water. Clean streets, roads that are tarred, and so on. So all the basics that will make it livable and a place to work and do business, but also a good place to visit for our tourists. Our second priority focuses on safety and security. And for this, what we promised our residents to do is to increase our boots on the ground in terms of the police force, but also to work in a more integrated fashion with other tiers of government and other law enforcement agencies. The third thing we promised our residents was to give them a caring city. That's a city that recognizes that not everybody in the city is the same. Some people will require a little bit of help. Some people are vulnerable and marginalized, and some people can't afford to live in Johannesburg. And so we've identified those vulnerable groups and we're assisting them through various modalities. The fourth thing we promised our residents is to be a business-friendly city. A city that's open to do business, that cuts the red tape and makes it easy for the business sector to interface with government. Then we promised them an inclusive city, and this is through the provision of different housing modalities, but also inclusive settlements that also have social and community development amenities. Our priority number 6 is for a well-run city. focuses on financial sustainability, focuses on the city being corruption-free, and it focuses on us having the right relationships with the regulators such as the National Treasury as well as the Auditor General. And our last priority is to give our residents a smart city, making sure that Johannesburg is smart from the institution itself, that we're doing everything in as smart a manner as possible, and that we incentivize smart solutions from all our departments and entities, but also that everything that we roll out on the ground is smart.